Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Rico, and if you're tuning in, thanks, and I appreciate the views you guys have given me so far. Um, Eventually I plan on moving to a better quality camera, but right now I have to just do this measly webcam camera off of my laptop, so I appreciate you guys being able to bear with me. I tend to, start off from the bottom of everything I start off doing, like this for example. I know I'm doing a book club review, and I should be doing it with a better background than just my room and my bed. Uh, Again, I'm sorry, but I hope this video can be interesting enough for you so that you don't mind everything else. So this is the book club, and what I'm going to talk about right now is Edgar Allan Poe, the celebrated author, one of my favorite authors of all time. I feel that he is one of the best gothic writers of all time, if not the best. And in my opinion, he's the best. So the reason why I consider him my favorite is because of all of his works, which are compiled in this one book, Edgar Allan Poe's The Complete Tales and Poems. So I had this book since I was 12. I've taken very good care of it. I mean, it's got these gold printed pages. It's very well taken care of. I've read this book in almost all of its entirety. Not every tale though, but I'm on my way. So the thing about Edgar Allan Poe is that he's a very well-known author. He's celebrated throughout the world. He was born here in Boston, Massachusetts, and he's known for being a very depressive and sort of an alcoholic kind of guy. That due to his depression, he was able to pen out the best-known Gothic writings of all time. A lot of people think it's due to the death of his wife, who also happened to be his niece or something like that, who was at the time very young. Like, he married her, he was around 30, and he married her when she was around 13, I think. Anyway, so his life has just been a series of unfortunate circumstances, and due to that, he was able to pen down some of the most depressing moments of his life, and transverse that into writing for us so that we may feel what he feels. And I feel that that sort of thing is just the beauty of how skillful of a writer he is. Through words and through his words, he can convey his emotions at us, and we can feel what he feels because of his ability to convince us through his communication. You understand me? So I feel that's what I'm trying to master. I like to write, I like to read, so I feel if I were to read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, a lot of William Shakespeare, a lot of John Milton, a lot of anything really, I'd be able to, adapt to some of their vocabulary, adapt to some of their communication skills, thus bettering my lack of being able to produce certain words that I cannot find to express myself at times. And that's really painful because the ability to express oneself is really is very, very underrated nowadays. People just tend to use slang more than formal language, and I think that's very disappointing, and it's a lost art. It's becoming a lost art. Nonetheless, there's no writers today that could ever hold a flame to the writers of the past, such as Edgar Allan Poe. So that being said, I hope I never finish this book. It'll be one of the last things I do, I think, in my life. Some of these stories here are just phenomenal. I mean, they give me thrill. And the thing about scary stories versus Edgar Allan Poe stories is that scary stories are meant to scare you as a little kid. You read them and you go, oh, I can't sleep at night. While Edgar Allan Poe stories are impactful. They leave the mind wondering, wow, how chilling. So I think the atmosphere is what's important in Edgar Allan Poe stories. For instance, in this book known as Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Mystery and Madness, illustrated by a man called Chris Grimley. If you remember a book, and this is for the 90s kids such as myself, if you remember a book while you were reading in second grade known as Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, you must have remembered the drawings that came with it. And I can't believe those drawings were allowed. I mean, it's a kid's book, and you got these drawings of spiders coming out of a girl's face through a bursted pimple, and then you got skeletons with rotting flesh coming off of them. It was really disgusting and grotesque, but nonetheless, the drawings were what made the whole book very scary, frightening towards us. And really, what I feel that Chris Grimley offers to Edgar Allan Poe stories in this book is what made the scary stories to tell in the dark very famous. I mean, it very much complements the ambience, the atmosphere of Edgar Allan Poe, and I feel that it was a perfect match. No one could have done it better. This is a very this man is very original with his drawings, and I feel that he should try and do more drawings to complement Edgar Allan Poe's stories. So I tip my hat to Rich Grimley. This book is composed of 4 tales from Edgar Allan Poe's works. The first one is known as The Black Cat. Now, The Black Cat, if I were to summarize it quickly, is about a man who's an alcoholic. He has rages, but at the same time, he's very fond of animals, and he has a wife. Him and his wife are fond of animals, so they have birds, fish, dogs, and in particular, they have a cat. So this one cat, they name it Pluto, and life is alright, it's mundane, until one day, on an alcoholic binge of his, the man goes and tries to grab the cat very violently, and the cat strikes at the man, and the man loses it. He goes into a fit of rage, and he grabs the cat, and with his knife, takes the cat's eye out. So the cat, without an eye, the man sees the cat suffering once he is sobered up, and due to the cat's suffering, the man, in a stupid decision that makes completely no sense other to no one but him, he decides to hang the cat because of his suffering causing him to suffer. It makes really no sense, but that's the beauty of why Edgar Allan Poe is such a masterful writer, because when you read it, you start to think, wow, I can sort of see why he did that, but I can't explain it other than Edgar Allan Poe. He did his best, and I feel that his explanation of why he did it was more sensical than what I could try and portray to you guys. So the man kills the cat, and the cat is dead. Then he starts wondering why did he kill the cat. And one day when he was at a bar, he sees a cat with a white collar around his neck, and it reminds him completely of Pluto, other than the white collar. So he takes the cat back to his wife, and him and his wife are fond of the cat for a while, but the cat starts acting weird and infuriating the man. So I'm going to leave it at that, because this tale obviously ends tragically. That's the beauty of Edgar Allan Poe stories, is that most of them end tragically, and it's more of the journey, not the ending, that matters, because the journey is the atmosphere, the archetypes, the symbolism, and all of the atmospheric moods that it provides, that you just dwell into and you soak it all up, and it's beautiful. I mean, I really am a fan of this, and Edgar Allan Poe is the master of it. I recommend highly that you read these stories. Another story that's in this book is The Masquerade of Red Death, and it's one of my favorite stories by far, because The Masquerade of Red Death includes a very medieval type of atmosphere that you tend to think, wow, there's the oppressed masses, and then there's the prosperous king that lives beyond the walls and enjoys his life. Now the plot is, there is a disease that's going around called the Red Death, and what happens is people infected with the Red Death die within 30 seconds, I think, or 30 minutes. I forget which it was which, but they die a horrible, gruesome death within a short amount of time. And there's a prince called Prince Prospero, and I think it's because of the name, I tend to think it's a satirical tale of just how the rich can oppress the poor. And obviously this tale is going to end tragically, but the plot succeeds as the prince decides to host a party within his walls, because they're so far away from the disease, and he thinks the disease will never catch up to them. So within this party, he has everybody come and join him, the nobles and the rich. And within the party, there are colorful rooms. For some reason, he includes colorful rooms. And when the clock strikes midnight, there is an uninvited guest that appears, and he's in tattered clothes, all in red and bloody, it seems. And no one knows who he is, but obviously the audience and you guys can guess who he is. He happens to be the Red Death in person. So I'm gonna leave it at that as well, and I think you already know what's going to happen. I feel you can at least give an educated guess that it all ends bad for everybody. But regardless of that, it's more of the journey again. As I say, it's the reading word for word and getting emotion from it. That's the critical value of an Edgar Allan Poe tale. It's what you get from it, and being able to read Edgar Allan Poe tales, I think in itself is an accomplishment. I recommend it highly, highly. I mean, I don't read anything just to read it. I have to know about it. Edgar Allan Poe, I heard about him when I was little, and I decided to take up Edgar Allan Poe writing, and I was up for the challenge. And I am proud to say that I can understand him, even though he's a challenge at times. But he is definitely worth the effort. So read some of his works. His works is why he's a celebrated author and one of the best considered of all time. And in my opinion, he is the best horror writer of all time. Better than Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, and just anybody you can imagine. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And if you want, leave a comment. I appreciate the view, the likes. God bless. Good night.